Well, hello, and welcome to my remote video for the third week of IST 220 for at Penn State Greater Allegheny and on the Distributive Learning Cooperative across various campuses. Um, I want to take this video for a couple reasons, and the first reason is to follow up on our last in-person class, because in our last in-person class, I said that I would be out of, I would be away until the week of February 16th. And during that time, I have charged you to work, to do the preliminary work on the overall project that you're going to have to do for this class. And as I mentioned in class, I feel that a final project, okay, looking at a problem statement, going in and critically thinking about the problem statement, going in and breaking down the problem, and specifically going in and developing, looking at the requirements of the whatever um, infrastructure that you're going to be working on, looking at those processes, okay, and then taking all these and start to develop a proposal that it's going to be that maps to the requirements, not the technology, but the requirements that specifically you look at before you do any type of technical evaluation. And that's looking at the problem situation, which is this outdoor sports venue, and particularly going in and looking at all of the processes, the possible processes that could happen. And then from there, you apply the technology. And the second thing that's important about that is I've asked you to do this in a group setting. Okay, you have to work as a group. That competency of being able to collaborate, to be able to work in a group setting is very, very important. To me, it's more important than actually, picking up the technical knowledge, but the ability to be able to take your technical knowledge that and you've had a little bit of the influence, or at least a little bit of exposure to computer networks from just your own personal experience and from IST 110 or Cyber 100, where you've picked up that little bit of competency. So now, from a network perspective, what I want you to do is that eventually we are going to be taking network components and putting it into this stadium. But right now, you have to understand the stadium from a business perspective. And that is what you have to do um, for your first assignment. And that assignment is a group assignment. It's a proposal that you will present to me when we have our next live class, which is February 17th. If you have not touched out to your group or had communications with your group, you are behind. And I sent out a message that particularly it's very important. And I know that some of the students have reached out to me and said that they have been sending emails and notifications to certain group members, and group members have not responded. Okay, if you've not responded to this, to any type of invitation, okay, you're going to be in, serious jeopardy of getting a low grade on this class, okay? Because this is the first milestone of the group project that's going to be your final. That particularly is something that you're going to have to work on, okay? Because what I'm doing right now is I'm having you establish your group. I'm having you understand your customer. And particularly, you need to be able to work with your groups to be able to do that. So if you have not reached out to your group, I would suggest you go on to the people part of Canvas, go in, find your name in a group and start to reach out to those people or check your emails. Check, check Microsoft Teams. okay, you may have been getting notifications from people and you don't realize it, okay? And hey, understanding or going in and looking at your emails, your business emails, your organization emails. When I worked for IBM, that was a condition of employment. If you didn't read your emails, okay, you would have a serious talk with your manager. Okay, so start to develop that competency. Okay, so right now, okay, what you should be looking at is, first of all, you should be meeting with your group and you should set up a group contract. That group contract is kind of agreement how you're going to meet, okay, how you're going to, work together, how you're going to divide the parts of all the specific things that you do. Okay. And that group contract and MOU is due Sunday night. I'd like to see that. Also, the following day, next Tuesday, I'm looking at a progress report. Okay, so you should be working on these first two assignments. Okay. Also on that day, you're going to have a mandatory meeting with me. We're going to have a Zoom call, and you should there's times broken down. Okay, that you're going to have a mandatory meeting with me. Okay. On February 3rd, okay, from 3 o'clock to 3:20, group one is going to be meeting with me. 3:20 to 3:40, group two is going to meet with me, and 3:40 to 4 o'clock, group three is going to be working with me. Okay. So particularly this is the assignments that you're moving towards. Okay. A lot of you have kind of trying to get into the technical pieces and the labs and everything like that. I kind of unpublished them because I don't want you starting the labs until I get back on the 16th or the week of the 16th. Okay. So, but what I want you to do, okay. Now, what you should be working on is your first milestone. Okay. And let me get this up on here. Okay. Now, you can read this yourself. Okay. The idea, your final project is you're going to be putting in a network solution for an outdoor sports complex that's being built for, a statewide sports game competition. And specifically, you're going to be looking at what the hardware and software are there. Okay. But what I'm doing now is more of a critical thinking type of thing. Okay. All right. Is that this solution is a scenario for your final project, which you're going to be putting your technical information in there. Okay. But what I'm asking you to do is to start thinking critically. Okay. Your first milestone is to look to see how this sports complex can be used in the future as a bigger and more comprehensive sports complex because you're doing investment on this. They're building this sports complex. Okay. And you have to think bigger in terms of making this a kind of a state-of-the-art complex where now instead of just a sports competition, there could be, high school high school sports, like maybe like football state championships. Okay. A lot of people have seen Hershey Park. Okay. Hershey Park has a complex, and it's a sports complex where they basically have a lot of state competitions because of the proximity that they have. Okay. So, you have to sit there and see how technology, okay, can help these events because when you have these events, you get a lot of visitors. Okay. And look at these complexes, maybe like as fairgrounds, and even look at some of the major sports complexes we have. Okay. And see, okay, all right, how, okay, how what future type of events could happen. And with that future type events, okay, what kind of technology you're going to have in there, okay? Think about things like vendors, people that sell food, Okay. If you go to a lot of these sports complexes right now, they don't accept charge card. They don't accept cash anymore. Okay. They basically are looking to just do, purchases, through going through credit card services and stuff like that. And they need to have access. Okay. People are going to be, these games are going to be broadcast capable, more sophisticated. So you need greater bandwidth. Okay. You know, maybe if it's a fair, if it's like a fairground, maybe we start to have more than sports type things like, state fairs, county fairs. Okay. Even, the fact that you have political rallies there. Okay. Butler Sports, Sports Fairground had, particularly Trump's, and that was one of the assassination attempts happened, and that was up in Butler Fairgrounds in the state of Pennsylvania. So all these specific things, I want you to start to think about how these opportunities for keeping this stadium and maybe making this a more comprehensive type sports, or even just an event facility, concerts, rock concerts, okay, things like that. Basically, could be used outdoor, rock concerts could be that we can do beyond sports. Okay, so again, it's this idea, it's this competency of critical thinking. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to think critically thinking, okay, using not just networking technology, but computer tech, any type of technology, video, voice, radio, okay, and the ability to be able to transmit that technology, because this is what this course is about. It's the transfer of information, and information just goes beyond just data. Okay, it goes video, it goes, you know, a whole bunch of capability of radio. Okay, data being transferred back and forth. Okay, and that's particularly things that you're going to need to look at when you have that. All right, now one more thing. Okay, a lot of you have been asking about the CERT Master Labs. Okay, I have unpublished these. Okay, you're not going to, you won't be seeing any of these assignments. I'm not going to start the CERT Master assignments until I get back on the 16th, because I want to be there to kind of step you through these labs, because specifically, it's basically learning the information about the labs. Okay, if you do want to go ahead, okay, in the syllabus, and we talked about this, okay, this is the CERT Master Lab, okay. I want to hold this off till we get back, okay. What I want you to do is that part of this class is in conjunction with a CompTIA Network Plus class that I'm teaching to high school students, okay. What I want you to do is that if you want to go a little bit further, there is a free text on O'Reilly.com where you can start to pick up information about, if you're interested in networking technology, okay, these CompTIA cert guides that are on O'Reilly.com and are for free through your Penn State ID. You can do that, okay? So, we'll pick up on this. I'll start having lectures on this. I'm going to start to, comprehensively go through all this information to show you this. And I'll have enough time to be able to get through this, okay? But the fact is that, we'll pick that up, the labs, with everything when I come back on the 16th, okay? But most important, and I have to emphasize this more, is your ability to collaborate with a group and start to think critically, to be able to think outside the box of building this sports complex. That's an important competency that a lot of employers are looking at right now. So it's real important that you do that, okay? So hopefully this helps. I'm going to send out this video. Hopefully you'll watch the video, okay? And specifically, I'll send this out as an announcement, and I'll send it out as a couple communications. And I look forward to meeting with you next Tuesday. All right. So have a great have great experience with your group. If you haven't talked to your group, reach out to them. And again, if you have any questions, send me something on email. That's the best way to communicate with me. Take care.